Here be an article. This is the only article. I think this is the only one we're going to do tonight. We're going to go over it pretty extensively. Um, and then tomorrow we'll do the other two articles and probably another one that says upsize downside, why the COVID property race for space went sour for homebuyers. Let me put it out to you. This is out of I think the Guardian, and this is going to be in England. You say, well, John, why are you talking about a housing situation in England? It somewhat mirrors that which happened in the United States. So that's why I want to talk about it. And then as far as um, can we draw any parallels? We will. We will, and then we'll also see what kind of contrast, like what is different over there than here, based on this article and based on my experience as a real estate agent. Let's get to it. It says ultra low. Oh, I don't care about that. In the summer of 2020, when British society emerged from months of COVID lockdown, the UK housing market reopened and began booming amid fierce demand for larger homes as buyers sought more space, better home working environments, or a garden. Okay, so like, can we say this is true? My own opinion. People, at least that I knew, moved out of the cities to get away from people. They didn't want to be in heavily populated areas with the pandemic. And then also, if they moved to the suburbs and not rural areas, they wanted to buy a big home where they could have offices, so they could work from home and not be bothered by the kids who were at home because of the schools were closed. So let's just say you're a family and you've got I mean, our family, there were 4 people in the house pretty much all the time, and we had my wife used the living room and the kitchen dining room table for her Zoom meetings, and then I built a studio in the basement for my stuff. But I'd already built a studio in the basement before the pandemic. But had we not done that, one of our 3 bedrooms would have been an office. Our kids would have hated us. Anyway, so so I can see this being true. It says fueled by ultra low interest rates and then Chancellor Rishi Sunak's stamp duty holiday, the number of homeowners moving to new properties began to rise sharply from June of 2020. And by August, mortgage approvals had jumped to their highest level since 2007. I mean, we saw it here in the United States as well. The market was fierce. We were seeing bidding wars that were just insane. It says in March 2021, the number of completed loans for house purchases for movers was 142% higher than a year earlier, according to UK Finance. In May, the average UK house price had risen 10.2% in 12 months. Now, that's not the way it was here. Honestly, since like 2017, 2018, the market was only going up. We had in like 2017, 2018, I had a young couple that was like, they stopped looking because they were getting beat out on properties then. And then we just happened to go look at a house and there was only one other offer on it. And it wasn't we were a little bit over asking and we managed to get it. And that was amazing. And that was really a big deal then. That was like nothing we were seeing in 2021. And what I'm telling you is the market was hot before COVID. Okay. But you poured gasoline on a fire when you dropped the interest rates and you made it so that people didn't want to live in small confined areas when people needed space. I mean, the average home, we went over the statistic last week, I believe, or when I last streamed, like 70% of all homes built before like 1960 were less than 1,400 square feet. I mean, it's only a pretty recent phenomenon that houses are, being built that were, over 2,000 square feet. So kind of crazy. It says, fast forward to today, and the situation has changed dramatically. In December, the average UK house price fell for the 4th month in a row, with experts expecting a further slowdown in the struggling economy. Bank of England policymakers have raised interest rates 9 times in the past year and are forecast to do so again when they next meet. Borrowers refixing their mortgage among those hardest hit in the cost of living crisis. Okay, now I have to scratch my eye. I'm sorry. Oh, it itches. Yeah, here's my understanding. Don't take this as perfect. My understanding is in Europe, you can get I believe even a 40-year rate, but it resets every 2 years. So these people are going to see tremendous house payment changes to the upside when these mortgages reset. A number of homeowners who moved to a bigger property during the pandemic have spoken to the Observer about how their larger homes have turned into financial burdens. Okay, that's reasonable. That is a reasonable thing. Claire and her husband James, who did not want to give their full names, upsized from their 3-bedroom mid-terrace former council house in central Hertfordshire to a 600-pound 5-bed in a Cambridgeshire town in spring of 2021. In the belief that mortgage rates would remain low, we've stretched our budget to move into our dream house. Monthly payments have just increased by £370 after we rushed to refix for 5 years at just under 4% in November. Now, The mortgage structure is much different there. In the United States, you can literally have a 30-year fixed rate. You never have to refinance. Okay. There, you have to refix. It says the couple who have 2 children have a household income of just over £60,000 and do not qualify for any government help apart from the £400 energy grant. They hope that meticulous budgeting will enable them to keep the house, but they worry they might not succeed. Now, why did they buy such a ridiculous house? They say because the mortgage rates they felt were going to stay low forever. That was stupid. It says, and by the way, why you make 600, what do you make? £60,000 and you expect the government to come and help you? Downsizing right now would, the couple is acutely aware, come with enormous penalties and costs, such as stamp duty. But every time they talk about it, it becomes a bit less of a joke, said James, a middle manager in a tech company who currently works mostly from home. He also fears being asked to return full time to the office. If I would have to do the 80-minute one-way commute to work in Hertfordshire again, just the fuel costs would blow us financially out of the water. Well, what were you doing? Did you think this was going to last forever? Like, how many times have you heard during this the situation, the new normal? It's going to be the new normal. There was no way that was going to be the new normal. That was not the way things were going to end up. We weren't going to end up in cages for the rest of our lives. It just wasn't going to happen. I mean, that was obvious. I mean, not even in 2020, not even a hindsight thing. That was just obvious. It says, when we bought it was inconceivable to me that interest rates would be going up this much. Like, how do you not know interest rates go up and down? I'm not sure we'd be able to weather another big financial change. Retrospectively, I feel it was quite irresponsible for the bank to lend us this much. And I know they could have lent us more. Why is it the bank's problem? See, that's the other thing. Now all of a sudden they're the victims. It's the bank's fault for you shouldn't have lent us this much money. Take responsibility for your actions. After having a second child in 2020 and spending a lot of time together working from home and homeschooling during the COVID lockdowns, Barbara and her husband John decided that their 3-bedroom house was becoming claustrophobic and upsized to a period property twice the size in central Plymouth. It was a step up the ladder. We weren't overstretching ourselves with a new mortgage, and we had some money put aside to renovate the house. Then came the cost of living crisis, higher energy bills, our nursery fees rose over £900 a month. We cut back on everything, but when Trustnomics tanked the pound, we knew what that meant for our mortgage renewal. Look, you have a nursery fee. You have £900 a month you're paying for your nursery. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. We came to the awful conclusion that the only way to avoid financially struggling in the future was to sell our home before we got into trouble. We have both well-paid academic jobs. 10 years ago, we had far more modest income, but could still afford to travel, save money, eat out, and so on. Our income is higher than ever before, but our standard of living has dropped substantially. We watch every penny. This is what happens when it's called house poor. Welcome to being house poor. That's why when house prices are going up and you're a buyer, you're just mortified. Or especially as an agent, like I feel terrible because the higher the prices go, the less people are going to be able to afford it. And the people that do actually buy are going to be quote unquote house poor. It's terrible. It says during the COVID buying frenzy, house price growth reached its highest rate in more than a decade, while prices of houses grew more quickly than the prices of flats across all UK regions. A Bank of England report suggests homebuyers' preference for the house over flats was associated with about 38% of the housing price increase between 2020 and 2021. Probably the most important factor in the boom. Now, I think a flat is a rental there. Don't quote me on that. Halifax now predicts house prices will fall by about 8% this year. The number of inquiries from potential homebuyers fell for a 5th month in a row in September, while sales dropped to the lowest level since May of 2020, which is still robust. Okay. Barbara and John put their home on the market last month and have already had to reduce the price. We're likely now going to make a loss upon sale. We are so angry and upset with the government that we have ended up here. It's the government's fault that they wanted to buy a nice house. For others, upsizing was motivated not primarily by a quest for more space, but by the idea that buying a house would be a good investment. Amy, an analyst from London who lives on her own, traded her 1-bedroom flat for a $475,000 or £475,000 3-bedroom house in January of 2021. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying a house, and it might be a good investment. I do think it's a problem when you're buying your home and you're looking at it as an investment. It should be a place to live first. This is as a real estate agent, take my opinion or not. It says, feeling that the high service charges in her previous flat were a waste of money, which that's probably true. She made more than 20 offers on the house, but kept getting outbid by £50,000 to £75,000. I had to go over budget to get this house by a lot, but mortgage rates were really good when I bought it. I was able to borrow £285,000 at 1.2%. When she had to refix her mortgage in December of last year, however, her monthly payments rose by £397 from £844 to £1,241, thanks to a new rate of 4.74%. I'm considering moving to a smaller property somewhere cheaper. I looked at a couple of flats in Stratford, but their service charges were even higher than my previous flat. Well, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. The times have changed. I'm also apprehensive as house prices have not risen as much as they could have. But if I could downsize to a property in a cost effective way, I'd do that. I have to. Not going to happen. You're not going to get what you could have had before. Like it doesn't make any sense. You can't be happy that prices are going up, but not happy that they're not going up high enough, fast enough, and then say, "Oh my God, I can't afford something because the prices have gone up." Adam Fahey, an architect and father of four from Surrey, is one of several homeowners who told the Observer their finances will not stretch far enough to comfortably absorb significantly higher mortgage rates coupled with a higher cost of living. The family is now downsizing to a property worth over just half of the value of their current home. Well, that sucks, no question. We've just accepted an offer on our home for £1.4 million and had our offer on a new home in West Sussex accepted for £750,000. The house we're moving into is much smaller. We'll have about 650 square feet less than in our current house, which is a 6-bed, 4 reception rooms. Now, look, I'm not going to feel sorry for someone that bought a $1.4 million, £1.4 million home. We have a $290,000 mortgage, pound mortgage. I'm sorry. We are keen to reduce financial stress. The only way to do this is to downside. The school run will take 30 to 40 minutes longer, but the improved standard of living will be worth it. Our mortgage and energy bills will approximately be £2,000 cheaper every month in the new house. We're looking forward to meals out and family holidays. Our meals will allow us to do such things again. That's right. House poor. House poor. Could this same story be written about the United States? Absolutely.